Yeah, for sure. So for me, I was looking at, I wasn't really looking for a job when they reached out, but started researching the company, and it was really the mission and the chance to make a global impact. So I've had the opportunity to work for plenty of great companies, but this one was really, focused on making a global impact and tackling a big problem. So that was terrific. And then I talked to, a few of the people here I had the chance to work with in the past, and they kind of drew me in. And what I've started doing as I've grown in my career is actually interviewing some customers or asking to interview some customers of the companies that I've worked for the past couple of ones. And it just really, customers seem to rave about the product and the company and the people and the support that they were getting from the safety culture team. So when I did that, it just really came through that is a great place to be, and the customers truly love the product, and that's not something you see every day. So I think those were the biggest draws for me.
Can you expand a little bit on the problem that safety culture is solving for? What was it about the problem that you thought was interesting or worthwhile to apply years of your life towards solving?
Yeah, for sure. So, our company actually started with Luke Anir, our CEO, was a private investigator, and he would go and essentially investigate workplace incidents after they happened, to make sure that people weren't, lying or that they were actually hurt on the job. And he really saw the fallout from that. He saw a couple, people that were, either really injured or even deaths on the job, and he was like, "Man, we're really on the wrong side of this thing." So he went back, and kind of where the company originated was from just a checklist application. So a simple, checklist application that people can go through before they, get on a roof or do an electrical job or whatever it may be. And that's kind of really where the company originated, was making sure that people were going home safely at the end of each day. And I came from a healthcare background where I did, sales and marketing for both large enterprise healthcare systems and things like that. So had a little bit of that impact, but a little different. But I think the product, and speaking towards the customers, it really just, they kind of really elevated that and said, we've definitely saved lives on this job by using your products and stuff like that. And I thought the chance to, be in marketing and get that out to more people, was a great opportunity that, just, may not come along every so often. So.
When you're in conversations with potential customers or current customers, have you seen the conversation evolve over time? Is there any new needs, or are they more receptive or less receptive to it than they used to be?
Yep. Yeah, sure. It's definitely. I think it's always changing, which is great. And in the nature of our business, it's we're very industry agnostic, so we play well in various industries. Obviously, there's some where, there's higher risk involved in construction or manufacturing, those sorts of things. But even with the pandemic, we've kind of scaled out to, businesses that are just looking to improve their operations. So that's really where we're looking to go in the future, is moving on from more of this checklist application, to an operations platform. And I think that's where we've seen the biggest shift in our customers asking for, one solution that will do everything, from an operations perspective to, help them get better each day, even if it's just a little bit, incrementally better, is what we've really seen from our customers and what they're asking of our products and what they could do.
Yeah, that seems to make sense because keeping people safe is sort of job number one. That's hopefully you would think of as table stakes, right? Like let's at a
Yep.
minimum do that. And so this is sort of that layer on top, which is everybody's safe. Now, what do we need to do just to be operationally effective, efficient, all that type of thing? That's sort of the next.
Yep.
Did the customers ask for that, or did your team just say, "Oh, I think that's next"?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I think we do a really good job of listening to our customers, and they're kind of at the one of our company values is, put the customer at the heart of everything you do. So we're constantly, in talks with them, with focus groups and whatever it may be. But I think we kind of saw that, and that was something in Luke's vision, was to eventually, take it beyond just the, inspections and checks and checklists and that sort of thing, and move on to, training and IoT and, that different thing, so you can bring everything full circle.
Do you think in the future you will sell the full package? Do you think safety will be sort of the foot in the door, and then the full package will be more of an expansion opportunity? How are you thinking about that?
Yeah, for sure. So it's pretty an interesting model. we're a product-led growth company, so I think there's only 3% of companies in the world that are considered product-led growth. So it's pretty unique, and we get a lot of people downloading the app, trying to use it, trying to activate in the application. So hopefully it's a land and expand model where they can get in, do something in their business, start seeing some initial success, and then spread that out to the rest of their organization. So one thing we're working through now is we have a couple different products that we're integrating into this one system. So I think in the future where we'll go is selling out one platform that does everything. And what we really want to do is pack in value, but we don't want to charge for that value and up our prices all the time. Being a product-led growth company, so the more value that we could get into the application, the better for all of our customers. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where we see it. Yeah.
Product-led growth is super interesting. How are there certain differences that you see operating in a product-led growth model versus other models that you've done in your past at other brands?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So I think the biggest one is this sheer volume of leads. So we've always where I've worked in the past where we're pushing an enterprise sale and looking at our ROI for leads and stuff like that. We get 15 to 20,000 app downloads a month, and those are essentially the people that we're marketing to. But for us, it's really about surfacing those best people to the sales team. So of that, we only surface 30 to 40% to the sales folks, and the product's so large is we can't have all of our sales and customer success folks talking to every customer. So identifying those thresholds to where we can chat with the right people at the right times, and then hopefully work with the product marketing team and the product team to continually develop the product in a sense to where people can get value to a certain point, and then once they realize like, hey, this can actually be applicable in multiple areas of the business, then maybe it's time for them to create a hand raiser and then to reach out to us to where we can help.
Are the indicators of somebody who's basically kicking the tires on the product for the first time?
Yep.
There's some obvious indicators that you're going to look for, like usage and how often and frequency, all those types of things. Are
Sure.
there any indicators that are maybe surprising to you that's an indicator of potential customer, or is it kind of the standard mix?
Yeah, it's kind of the standard mix. I'd say a lot of what we pay attention though happens in the first 3 days of them downloading it. If we can have them download the product, and we have a couple different ways of trying to get them activated, but if they can conduct an inspection, if they can conduct a build an inspection or share it with somebody in their company to do something, those are some really good hooks for us. So that's what we try and drive people to do, but we're constantly looking to see how we can get them to use multiple products, or looking at monthly active users and kind of what's drawing that usage. And then something that's really worked well for us as well is layering in demographics and firmographics information. So what company are they in, what's the company's size, what's their job title, what industry are they in, that sort of, and that can allow us to say, okay, let's push them down a little bit different of path than they may have gone down if we didn't know that. So if we know that, that definitely helps.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you've been doing this for a little bit. SafetyCulture has grown significantly. Are there things in the past that you look back from a sales and marketing standpoint, growth standpoint, and you'd say that was a tough one, but I'm glad we're on the other side of it? Like, we didn't know exactly how we're going to get through
Yep.
that. I'm sure you
Yeah.
got a couple of
Yeah,
those.
yeah, for sure. I think the one that comes to mind the most is creating an MQL funnel from the product-led growth model. So the PLG is terrific, and it's constantly has organic growth in the background and gets us tons of leads and tons of people to talk to. But typically from the ground up, so it's a land and expand type of model. And in order to grow the business as fast as possible, we wanted to stand up a different type of funnel. So the traditional MQL funnel, so to say. So we've started layering in things to go after higher level people in an organization, director level and above, that sort of thing, to do content syndication programs, trade media, trade shows, some of the I don't know if traditional marketing is the right word, but some of that stuff, and that's just been a different motion for us. So it's a different conversation for our BDRs and our sales team, and it's kind of we want to map the right fit of that. We don't want to become a sales led company. So we always want that PLG model to be the first one. But there's some things that we can do to, if we get both of those models working on the right level and essentially have two different funnels, then it can just expand the business, and we could grow a little bit more rapidly.
Are there any tactics or channels that you have used over the past few years where you were surprised at the results and you would say, I underestimated this. I didn't think this would go this way, and it really took off. Anything that comes to mind there?
Yeah, I'd say, trade shows and events have actually been pretty good for us the last 2 years. We kind of, we're early probably a little bit in getting customers back face to face, pretty small gatherings, that sort of thing. But there's still just something about getting customers in a room with like-minded professionals that can, bounce ideas off each other, learn from each other, that sort of thing. So those just little focus groups, round tables. We traveled around to different cities a little bit and got out there, did some small events in KC to get people just into our office, and not necessarily do a big customer conference, but get a few people in. And I think those still just work really well. And we were pretty skeptical about how would that be received, if people would actually come. In some cases, we were still wearing masks when we did that. So yeah, it was a a bet that we placed that seemed to work pretty well at the time and is still going. So.
You've been doing this for a little bit. Is there something where you would say like that was super rewarding? Got feedback from customers, or what would you say has probably been the most rewarding aspect at Safety Culture for you?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just definitely hearing from the customers. So I think that's one thing we do really well here, that maybe I didn't do so much in the past at other marketing roles, is really get in front of our customers and just talk with them about, hey, how are you using the product? What's working well, what's not working. This is our product roadmap. We're pretty open with it, whereas other organizations I've been at haven't been necessarily. We share it with them, we get feedback, and that feedback from them is just invaluable in where we take it and what we do next, and evaluating the tech that we create and kind of the next steps for us. So I'd say for a lot of marketers, it's really hard to find time to go out and interview customers or go to a customer site and spend a couple days with them. But some of that stuff has just been invaluable to take, because it's just knowledge that you don't hear every day. So.
Completely agree. Why do you think people don't share their product roadmap with their customers? Do you think it's because they deem it as proprietary, or it's their thing, or they don't want them to know? What do you think that is?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I think in some cases it's proprietary, or maybe they don't want their competitors to see it, or things like that. So yeah, I think it's probably a variety of reasons, but one of our values is open, honest, always. So we do that internally and with our customers. And if the customer isn't the right fit, it's a tough to do, but we've actually turned down a few RFPs and things like that. It's just like, hey, we don't think this is going to work. It's not going to work the way you need it to work. So in that case, in some cases that helps as well. And a couple of those customers have come back in the long run and say, we know it's not going to be exactly like we want, but it's the closest we can get, and it
Yeah.
still makes your business better. So.
Well, I think it's really smart, and I have a feeling that you're unusual in the regard where you're sharing the product roadmap with your customers. It
Yep.
seems almost common sense, but it isn't, and
Yeah,
it's
it is
it's
tough. Yeah,
uncommon.
for sure.
We do the same thing. We're not building software, but even with our services, we bug our clients all the time. Hey, we're thinking about changing it to this. What do you think about that? Or which would
Yep.
you rather have, this or that? Because the feedback is so valuable. Like
Yeah.
why make an assumption and not learn that it's wrong until a year later?
Right. Yep. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is there a frequency to that, or is it just kind of organically kind of always going on? Like, how do you approach that?
Yeah, for sure. It's always going on, but typically when we have events and things like that, and we get customers in house, we'll do that at those, and do some customer interviews and things like that. It also helps with identifying from a marketing perspective, hey, these folks may be really good for a case study in the future, or if we get this correct, this may be a good customer story to tell, later on, or have them present it for you in a webinar or a speaking engagement or something like that. So there is some benefits to it from a marketing perspective as well, because those are always seem like they're hard to come by, and it's tough to get customers to commit to some of that stuff. So yeah, that always helps. And then we'll have the product team go out and do interviews or surveys every so often, with the application, and I think they do it quarterly, for
Yeah.
sure. And then yeah,
Sounds like it's
encouraging
sounds like
site
it's always
visits is
going
great
on.
too.
Yeah.
Yep, yep,
Great. That's what it should be.
yeah,
If
yeah.
you look out a year or two on the horizon, are there things that you're looking forward to or you're hoping to get to? I mean, what's next for you?
Yeah, for sure. I think we're still trying to tackle some of the speed to value. So making sure people and customers are able to get value from the application. So, we have a free version of the product, which people can use forever as long as they're, within certain thresholds. And there's obviously some limitations on the features. For us, it's analytics and onboarding and some of the stuff you would get with a customer success rep. But just finding different ways to create value very early on in a customer journey can be super important, especially for a product-led growth business. And then for us, I think the other side of it is layering on some of the other things that other companies are already doing that may be a little bit ahead of us. Maybe it's account-based marketing, some of that stuff, making sure customers are getting the right information at the right time, and the content's good for what they're needing at that moment as well. So I think we need to do a little better on the personalization front, and we'll kind of look to tackle that over the next year or so.